Hello and welcome to this video. Today I am just going to go a little bit off piece just to help you with understanding what's going on with your own body, how you've maybe got into the position that you're in, and what we can do moving forward to help you with your digestion. There are so many symptoms that actually are pointing towards a digestive system that is struggling that we actually don't spot as what it really is. So if you struggle with skin issues such as acne, or you have migraines, you might be nutrient deficient, you may have strong anxiety, you may have depression, you may just have really serious mood swings, you may be struggling with fatigue, feeling tired all the time. These are often symptoms of a struggling gut. But in our culture, we tend to look at the symptoms and try and treat a symptom, i.e., let's say if I had acne, I might try to address my skin issue and actually neglect the root cause, which is my gut, all along. But there was something else going on in the gut. So if we go a step deeper, how does the gut get into the position it gets into, right? So we're doing a serious backtrack. We have a culture that's fed on a lot of sugar, a high antibiotic use, and also a culture that is severely stressed. We have too much to do, not enough time, and we get severe anxiety. Those three things are so detrimental to our bodies. It was Hippocrates who said all disease begins in the gut. So it's worth us taking a little look inside at what's going on. We have so many microbes at home in our gut, and we have different amounts for different people. Of different types of microbes. So you were given the microbes that you were from your mother when you were birthed, and then by age 2 your microbes are set. So you'll find kids are putting things in their mouths constantly. They're actually building up their own microbiome in their gut based on what they're putting into their mouths on top of what their mother's given them. And by age 2, like I say, it's set. That becomes your base level gut lining, so to speak. Now, throughout your life, you're going to be adding to that, of course. So here's the thing. If you take a round of antibiotics, it wipes out your good bacteria and your bad bacteria that you have built up over all that time. What it does is it takes you back to your base level bacteria that you were given age 2, which is always set and it's always there. So imagine everything else has been wiped out, you're down to your bare level. If you weren't given great microbe balance at birth, that's going to set you back on a negative trajectory, because now you're going to have all of those proportions of microbes growing at the proportions you were given, and without you even realizing it, you may not be able to rectify that quick enough. And that can cause you issues. Now, the thing to remember with antibiotics is 80% of antibiotics that have been created are used on animals. Interesting, right? So you could be cutting antibiotics out unless it's really absolute necessity, because I'm not saying I'm against antibiotics. I understand there are totally situations where you need to use that, but we are in a culture that will use antibiotics at the drop of a hat, where it can often not be necessary. So in that case, you could be cutting those down and finding natural solutions for things that you can sort out, but you could be eating a lot of meat that is completely laden with antibiotics, because the animals have eaten them and it's gone into their meat, and from their meat it then goes into you, and it will disturb your microbes, it will disturb your microbiome. So really try to eat organic wherever you can. And then there's stress, and stress is hugely linked to our digestive system. They say that your gut is your second brain. Your body is always listening to what your mind is thinking, to what your brain has got going on. It's sending out these chemical signals to your body that your body can interpret, and it switches things on and off in either a positive or a negative way, depending on whether you have a positive or a negative thought. It does make sense, right? I mean, the people who you know that are the happiest are often the most healthy. The people that you know who are struggling in life, complaining, who are Debbie Downers, often have something going wrong in their bodies. It's just the way of it. It's because it is hugely linked to our outlook on life. And if we are stressed and we move in stages 2 or 3 of stress, because the first stage of stress is fine, that's your fight or your flight. It's natural. You need that response to help you to make good decisions. But if you are consistently in a stress state, you move into stress 2, you go into stage 3, which is chronic stress. This is absolutely going to affect your gut microbiome. They will shift depending on what they're hearing from the signals that you're sending in your blood. So if you're stressed, you most likely find that you have digestive issues, or you have the skin issues, the migraine issues, which are often linked to the digestion, right? So you're backtracking. And also, if you're stressed, the effect that that has on your body, once that stress hormone is broken down, is almost like sugar in your bloodstream. I will let you know in a minute what the sugar does. So the third thing is sugar. Now with sugar, we all have candida in our guts. It's just a microbe that's there with all of us and it's beneficial. But if you have an imbalance going on in your gut, i.e. stress or antibiotics, candida can morph into a bad guy, and we call that pathogenic, and it will then actually change shape and it turns into like a kind of spiral. And what it will do is it will burrow its way through your gut lining, and it will get out into your blood system, and then it will just free flow around your body at its own will, leisure, to wherever it chooses to land. That might be your brain, that might be your skin, that might be your heart, wherever. If it's in your blood at that point, it's just going to go everywhere. So candida obviously has grown quickly out of control, and the byproduct of this is often those symptoms that you heard me say in the beginning, where you end up having chronic fatigue maybe, you're feeling tired, you are finding that your emotions are all over the place, and it's just, you don't feel yourself and you don't know what's off, but there's something off, right? Often at that point you go to the doctors and you try and find out what's going on, and you know, as it was for me, the results come back, you're completely normal, but you know you're not normal. There's something going on and it's not right, and you are not yourself. So again, look at the digestive system. This is the place to always look, to just check what's going on. Like I say, it's the place that all your food is passing through. Your food has a massive effect on your health. It is the place where it is listening to your emotions and it is responding to those chemicals. This is why I'm so passionate about the gut. This might make more sense to you now that I've gone over the three things: antibiotics, overuse of sugar, and also stress. So for me, my mother had candida when I was born. She didn't realise she had it, so she gave me an imbalance in the favour of candida overgrowth. Now, I had built up my own microbiome in a really strong way, so I actually was in very good health for all of my life. I got highly stressed, and with that stress I fed the candida, and the candida then grew out of control. And obviously I also think the accumulative effect of getting stressed, eating too much sugar because I was, and then also having antibiotics in the meat I was eating, as a byproduct, all things together worked against me, and that caused the candida to go out of control. Now, here's the thing. When candida goes out of control and it burrows through your gut lining, at this point you now have leaky gut. And with leaky gut comes a whole host of issues which I've also described before, and they're kind of linked. So again, yeah, you get the emotional imbalances, you might find you get depressed, and definitely nutritional deficiencies. If you are deficient in something and you're struggling to build up your nutrients, your nutrient intake, and maybe you're even eating well and you're finding that it's not sticking, it's not actually having an impact on your body. They say that you're not what you eat, you are what you absorb. So for me, I know I had candida, leaky gut. I'm still working through some of that on my journey at the moment anyway, but what I was finding is that I was eating really well and I wasn't necessarily making really huge strides. And that is because although I'm eating well, my body is struggling to absorb. Because with leaky gut, so what happens is you have a lining in your gut and it has these little fingers that stick up, and the fingers absorb the nutrients. And the fingers actually have these little hairs on them, and that's where the nutrients go in. When you have a struggling gut, leaky gut, the hairs are damaged. They're unable to absorb the nutrients, and so the nutrients are just passing by and they're not getting absorbed, and then they're being flushed out. And so what is absolutely critical when you're in this state is you need to be building your body up, because it's your body that heals itself. No, there is no magic pill, there is no magic formula, but there are things you can do that help your body and give it a fighting chance to actually start to rebuild. At which point, when your body rebuilds and it gets strengthened, that's when everything's going to come back into line, and you'll find, the hairs start to grow again, and then you're able to absorb, and then by absorbing the nutrients you will make huge strides to getting better. But we are finding in our modern diet that there isn't enough nutrients anyway. So if you're not eating massively plant-based, if you're eating a lot of processed foods, if you're eating out a lot, most likely you're not getting a lot of nutrients anyway. And we are a nutrient deficient generation. We don't really have enough anyway, let alone throwing in the digestive issues that have happened where you are definitely struggling to absorb because you don't have a tickety-boo digestive system. So what you want to do, up your veg intake. Veg is so healing. Cut out the antibiotics in the meat. Having green smoothies where you're blending up the food so that your digestive system doesn't have to work as hard. You're packing it with nutrients, you're packing it with your green powders, with your spinach, some fruit. So now some of the things that I do that actually help me and that I've learned along my journey. When you have leaky gut, most systems of your body aren't working optimally anyway. So you'll find that your emotions aren't quite there. Maybe, like I say, you're not breaking down nutrients quite as well as you would have. There's lots of systems in your body that struggle, and that's not a surprise. It makes sense. Your body's going to cut back on whatever it can. It hasn't got the power or the resources to keep going at its optimum point. So what you can do to help your digestive system is take betaine hydrochloric acid with your food if you have protein, and that will help you to break the protein down. You need to take digestive enzymes, and you can find digestive enzymes that will break down gluten, it will break down dairy, and it will break down beans, legumes, veg. Veg is actually really hard to break down. It has a very difficult cell wall to break. And so find yourself a really good digestive enzyme. L-glutamine. L-glutamine is basically a non-essential amino acid, meaning your body actually makes this. But when your body is struggling, i.e. with leaky gut and digestion, you won't be making enough of this to actually produce the building blocks of protein in your body to fix your gut with the holes. Apple cider vinegar in your water. That will help to acidify your stomach acid to break food down further. You can also take lemon in water. I take a glass of water like this in the morning with 3 to 4 drops of doTERRA's lemon oil. The lemon oil helps to flush out toxins. It also helps you with your digestion. You want to take this glass of water down in the morning just to flush yourself out. And then while I do that, I will be making my breakfast, because you want to wait 20 minutes then to allow this water to pass through before you begin eating, because the water will actually dilute your stomach acid, which you're already struggling with anyway. So definitely that's a good step. Then you want to be taking supplements. So I have supplements for morning, afternoon, evening, and then nighttime. So what you want to be doing is definitely taking supplements to give your body more nutrients that it's not going to be collecting from your food. So you want to give it higher dosages so that at least something might stick, right? So that will help to build your body up. And with that, take it down with just the smallest amount of water, because really you shouldn't be drinking when you eat. So just sip, knock it back, do another one, sip. Be careful not to take a shower once you've eaten, because the blood will rush from your digestive system out towards your skin to release heat. So at that point you then have a sluggish digestive system and your food's just going to pass through partially digested. That is some tips for today that I hope you found really helpful. There is a lot more to cover, so I will do more videos. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you're liking what you hear and what you see, just smash that subscribe button below, and you can click that little bell to be notified, and you will see me before you even know it. Take care. Bye bye.